My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. In today's episode, we are going to talk about burnout. That's right, burnout. Now, we're coming into the holiday season. It's late November as of this recording, coming into December. And so this is generally a very, very busy time, universally around the world, right? Despite whatever, religion or faith or belief system you have, it's a time of year where we as human beings, generally speaking, we celebrate, right? And with those celebrations come obligations, right? There's no other word around it. It's these obligations around family, spending time. We have to get gifts. We got to do the dinner things. Thanksgiving just happened here in the U.S. So there's lots of activities and obligations that we normally wouldn't have, at any other time in the year. So what ends up happening for me is in the burnout equation, right? And burnout is something that we all face as entrepreneurs, as business people, as success-minded people, overachievers. If you're in pursuit of anything, of any new goal, like burnout is something that we have to always address constantly in this sphere. So I wanted to have this conversation in the context of obligation versus desire, because for me, and again, like, I don't mean to just point out that the holiday season is an obligation, right? Like that's a stressful obligation, and that people don't enjoy it. Many people, I would hope that most people enjoy the holidays. It does, however, mean different things to different people. But obligations in general, I think, can really create an imbalance in our lives that contributes to burnout. The reason I say this is because for me, an obligation is in this context is something that we feel like we have to do, but we don't actually want to do, right? Now, of course, we have obligations to our family to make sure we take care of them, put food on the table, roof over the heads, and things like that. We have to meet those kind of basic fundamental needs, and I consider those obligations as well. And we do those happily. We do those with pride and joy. And of course, a lot of us who are entrepreneurs, that's the reason why we build the things that we build in the first place. However, there are those other obligations that are just kind of like, that if you have other obligations in your life, that you feel like you're just going through the motions because you're obliged to do it, then you really have to kind of question that, right? Because as entrepreneurs, again, if you're on any kind of journey where you're trying to make any shifts or changes in your life, you're already going to have a ton to do, right? You're already going to have a difficult go because it is an uphill road, trying to create lasting change in your life in any aspect of life, right? And to have to stack on top of that obligations that aren't necessarily needed, aren't necessity, but you feel obligated to do it out of some sense of whatever, like connection, family, et cetera, then you might want to really reconsider those obligations. I'm not saying sacrifice the people that you love and cut them all out, right? But really just look at those places in your life that you feel obligated to do but don't want to, right? And chances are those things are the things that you can cut out, at least in the short term, while you're grinding, while you're building, while you're exerting all this energy and effort to your endeavor, so that way it gives you more fuel, right? You have more left in reserve for that. Because if you're doing things that you don't want to do but feel obliged to, you're going to expend a lot of energy and effort on that, right? Because you gotta willpower your way to this obligation and through this obligation, and then what are you going to have in reserve for the things that you really want to work on? So really question and be mindful of any area in your life where you're feeling this way. Again, it's that friction of not wanting to do a thing but feeling obligated to do it. If you don't have to do it, then just be kind and politely say, sorry, I can't make it. I've got other things that I need to really take care of right now, and that will go a long way to giving you enough reserve so that you don't actually have to face and experience burnout, right? Of course, there's other things that you can do as well, but I think this particular angle of burnout, like the excess things that we have to put, that we stack on ourselves as obligations. I think that's an important conversation to have, because you really, how many things are there that we do on a day to day or a week to week or a month to month that we feel obligated to do but don't actually have to do, right? Let's make more space in our lives, and that will, I think, really go a long way to helping prevent burnout. So that's the conversation we have today. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already followed the show, go ahead and follow the show. Leave me a 5-star rating and review if those are possible on the particular app that you're listening on. And beyond that, there's a new episode coming tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.